Hello and welcome to What Culture Wrestler and myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. And as you can see, I am not flying solo today, for I'm joined with AEW superstar, the absolute one, Ricky Starks, the Stroke Daddy, which is a nickname I've not heard for a while.
I
It's
know.
crazy, man. But anyway, how are
Wow.
you, Ricky?
Good. I feel like this is a time cop type thing. I feel like I've been here before. I feel like we had the same conversation before for
Po-
some
Possibly, man. Who knows? Who knows what goes on behind the scenes? This is our every 2 years. It feels like we get together and have a little date. It was the first time we spoke, May 2020. The second time we spoke, May 2022, and here we are. This being recorded in May 2024, and it's just nice to see the progression of Ricky Starks, the wrestler, the performer, the man, the superstar throughout all of this time. And here we are in 2024. You've had a great couple of years since we last spoke. You were Team Taz, which is no more now. You Team Taz and FTW champion last time we spoke. Since then, you've had shots at MJF's world title, CM Punk's real world title. You've won the Owen Hart Cup, disrespected Jushin Thunder Liger, no less. In part of that, yeah, had an awesome run with Big Bill as the AEW Tag Team Champions. But yeah, it feels like Ricky Starks has barely scratched the surface.
uh it's interesting that you say that because it makes me feel like I'm not alone in the way that I personally feel and the way that I have my own perspective on my career. And so it's just very interesting to hear that because these are people who that's their own belief and that's their own opinion, right? And so yeah, it's just it, you can feel that way and it can feel like you're just by yourself in that feeling, but this is my life and this is my experience and career that I'm currently going through. So yeah, I definitely would agree with you.
Yeah, and I'm very much enjoying the time cop vibes. I think we make a good team, man. We make a good team. All about the Van Dam. The team with Big Bill. It was it is a lot of fun. 123 days, I believe it was, as the AW Tag Team Champions. Some people might not be aware that you and Big Bill actually crossed paths in 2016 in NXT. Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore. You were on the
Yeah.
other end of a short loss there. And it's like it's just fun to see how wrestling, like the paths, you don't know where things are going to go. Like 2016, you're doing a squash match in NXT, and then fast forward to 2023, and you're teaming up with a
Yeah.
dude, and you're having your great team together. Is that team still on the table? Big Bill's back on TV under the learning tree of Chris Jericho. You guys done or
Nothing is. That's it. Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah. You know, it, the way that we even came into teaming together was a bit of a like crapshoot as well. Like, and this honestly, this is everything that I had predicted was gonna happen anyways. But I got suspended, so I couldn't be at All In, but I could be at All Out. And during my suspension, I had a manager's license, and that's when I started being with Bill. So I would tell people like me and Bill, we really don't know each other that well. We've gotten to know each other over the course of the months, but that was something that me and him had to just make work. Every time they give something, you just make it work. So it was fun. I thought it was cool for what it was. It seemed like people were into it.
Yeah.
Not too much of a chance given, so to speak. People can say what they want, but um, I think there was a little bit more to it that could have happened that didn't. But you deal with stuff, and that's how it is. But I that is crazy. I remember telling Bill, like, hey, remember when you threw me over the top rope back in like 2015, 2016, and I almost bit through my tongue? Uh, I actually said that in my interview that I did right before All Out and Collision. I brought that up. So yeah, he's a great dude. I really, really hope that things work out for him. And I've always actually campaigned for that. I've always made sure if anybody out of this would be taken care of, it's him. So I'm glad to see that he is doing good. Because he's a good dude, man.
Mm. He's
He
been on
really is.
a hell of a tear, a hell of a journey, I guess you could say. But just obviously the release from WWE, the problems he's talked about himself, but to go to TNA, to Impact Wrestling, and to reinvent himself, getting back in the game, and just to get so focused and do so well as a singles. Obviously, gets his shot at AEW. You guys just I thought were absolute gold, which is even not a stranger to hear, but just nice to hear that you. Well, I guess it's testament to yourself and to Bill that you guys, with no real backstory, no real not friendship, but like you guys aren't you're associates. You come to,
Coworkers.
yeah, there we go. That's it. And you're thrown together and you just make it work. And there's chemistry there from the get go. He's the big meaty heater. You're the chopsy, as we would call it over here in the UK. Yeah, likes to get under people's skin, runs the mouth. You got the big guy there to help you out, but also you can hold your own. So it's a
Yeah.
testament to you guys how well you made that work, and you had like the pay-per-view run last year. I mean, just yourself as well. Obviously, All Out was against Brian Danielson, Wrestle Dream, you got Wheeler Yuta, Full Gear, there was the crazy 14 tag team ladder match, World's Ends, the 8-man tag. And then we've had Revolution and AEW Dynasty this year with no Ricky Starks. We've got Double or Nothing is on the horizon, is as of this recording anyway. What's the situation there? Is there a chance we see Ricky Starks at Double or Nothing?
I don't know. You know, um, I really, I would hope so, but I really don't know. Things are, every time I always predict something to go some way, it doesn't go that way. And it kind of just leaves me being like, well, we'll just figure out and see. Like I really have no clue. Um, it's just a very interesting time, I feel like. And, I wish that I was on Dynamite. I wish that I was on Dynasty. I wish I was on these things, but I think at a certain point, just for my own sanity, I can't go too crazy about it because the proof is in my work and my effort that I've constantly given. I've constantly given 1,000% effort. So at a certain point, I'm out of control. It's not in my control. I think that's about the biggest lesson I have is that things are just not in my control. But the things that are, I tried the hardest.
I mean, it's like if you look at the AEW landscape since you came into the company, I don't think there's anybody that's taken advantage of their opportunities as much as yourself. Just from whether it's the night one debut, whether it's the singles, the tags, whatever you're doing, whether it's
Or
Team
Team
Taz.
Taz.
Yeah, Team Taz,
Yeah,
man. What the hell of a run that was.
that was crazy.
It's yeah, it's like every time you get an opportunity, you grab that with both hands and you it's obviously it's a mixture of it's a work ethic thing first and foremost, but it's also having the ability to translate that work ethic into something that's entertaining and engaging for people out there, and that's a
Right.
special talent to have. Now, as we're recording this, you've had I think 6 matches this year so far, and we're in May. 5 for AEW, then 1 for Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. Am I right in that? So 6 matches in total.
Turnbuckle, yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I had a tag match there. Yeah.
yeah, and then like 5 for AEW, and I don't know how much you can say on this, but it'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. Because people speculate. Oh, is he hurt? Is he injured? Is it a contract situation? Is a contract up? Because the last time we saw you was against Top Flight nearly 2 months ago. So what's the status of absolute Ricky Starks right now?
I'm not hurt. Even that night, I specifically stated, "Hey,
Yeah,
I'm not hurt. I was just like you have to be I was just being cautious about it because I didn't know what at the moment I didn't know what was happening, and so especially with this side of my body, so I wasn't hurt and I was never put on a injury list or anything like that. I have no answers. People ask me all the time, "Well, why aren't you?" I don't know. I have no clue. That isn't up to me. It does suck, obviously, to not be on TV, but the support and people online and people who send me messages is very, very sweet and endearing and very encouraging from that standpoint. I didn't know that was. I was trying to think like 6 matches this year.
I believe so,
No.
man. Yeah, that's going to cage match, brother. That is
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
believe it. If it's on
genuinely,
there, I
yeah.
believe it.
That's
So that's a small number, compared
yeah,
to what I was doing the years prior.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm just not a. I don't honestly, man. I don't bullshit. I don't bullshit anybody. I don't try to play with anybody's life or anything like that. So I just kind of stick to myself, and I just always operate under the belief like, well, my work will carry me through any obstacle,
Yeah.
and I still believe that.
But how is it then to be in the position you're in now with the spotlight on you, AW superstar, former tag team champion, former FTW champion, and reports come out that Starks is injured, man. And then you put out a statement to say like, no, I'm okay. And people question it like, no, he's injured. That must be like frustrating. Like, I've told you I'm okay. I've told you I'm good.
It was, and you know, there weren't any like specific statements of this guy is injured. I remember seeing a list that was floating around that wasn't even verified. It just was a list that people just assumed. And I was getting so aggravated because people would send me a text message or something like that and be like, hey, are you hurt or what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, I'm not hurt. I don't know who's doing this. So when I went to go get my physical, that Mike from Insider or whatever, he didn't say that I was hurt, but it just people alluded to like, well, he was there to get cleared. No, bro, I was just there to get my balls checked and do my physical. That was it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was doing. So yeah, man, I haven't been I'm healthy. I'm great. I'm perfectly fine. So I shouldn't have any type of like questioning of like, well, are you really? I was like, bitch, I'm telling you I'm not hurt. Like, I don't know what more you want me to say. So, and that's the thing, man. I haven't been, when it comes to my career, I only had one injury, so to speak, and that was the whole neck thing. That was it. That was it. And even then, when I had the neck injury, I still was coming to work. So I don't want to hear anything about anyone saying that I'm injury prone or whatever someone may try to drum up in their fucking weird head, but there's nothing. There's no issue. Yeah.
And as for the contract status, is there any details you can give us? Like how long you tied down to? There we go. That's the one. No. It's nothing you can say on that.
No. Because it's not, something should just be kept to the heart. Yeah. And that's, I see all the time reports of this person and this person. It's like, when am I going to just have something for myself? Right? Yeah. When can I just have something just for me to know? And go from there.
Yeah. With like that schedule that we talked about for the beginning of the year, I mean, there is kind of like swings and roundabouts in. You get to rest up, heal your body. Because obviously wrestling is a grind, man. But then, obviously the worker in you is like, I want to wrestle. Yeah. So it's the balancing of that. How's your mindset hard with that?
It's very hard. It's a very difficult thing because I get my fulfillment from actually, wrestling. Yeah. I get my fulfillment from like being out there and connecting and doing all that stuff. So it's been a struggle to try to, work through. Because no one is going to tell you how. No one has the answer of how to get through it. So yeah, it's been really, really hard. And a bit of a questioning of my own ability, so to speak. And it's been somewhat of a fight, internally of like, do I suck, or just constant negative thoughts that come in. But it's all about working through that, being in the ring and constantly training and, just trying to work through all of those noises. White noise is what I call it. Yeah. But it does suck. And it's so interesting that you have that wherewithal of even asking that question, because I don't think people understand that aspect of it. I don't think people get like, hey, this person is used to doing this and using their body as an outlet of expression. And when that isn't able to be done, how do you manage? So yeah.
I mean, we did mention Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. There you wrestled a tag match with them earlier in the year. Of course, that's operated by QT Marshall and Teal Rhodes, which nicely brings me on to WrestleMania 40. Now, it's no secret you were at WrestleMania 40, but you were seen in the skybox with, yeah, exactly. That you were that guy, as were a lot of people in that stadium. You were there with Dustin Rhodes, of course, getting to see Cody, a good friend of yours, being crowned the new face of the company, the WWE Undisputed Champion. His big crowning moment. I've got three questions for you with that. One, what was it like to witness that? A good friend get to that part of the journey, and I guess even a mentor figure 2, what was it like to share that moment with Dustin? And then 3, as a huge Undertaker fan, how much did you lose your mind when that gong went off?
Dude, I made a joke to Cody. I was like, that video, they caught the video of me acting like that after I just saw Taker come out, dude. It wasn't because you were winning. I was making that joke with him. And so it's bro, it was crazy. It was a great, man, it was really cool to witness that because you know, um Cody, people make all these jokes about me being Cody's friend and all this stuff. But the reality of it is that I shouldn't feel like I can't talk about a friend that I have.
Yeah.
Cody has done more for me behind closed doors and for my family than anyone ever know. And I don't have to explain myself or just like I don't have to justify any type of relationship I have with someone. But I will just end it to that and say, beyond this wrestling shit, he's done more for me than I could have ever asked someone to do it. And so in return, he will always have my loyalty and respect because that is how me as a person, that's how I operate. And so to see that live, to know like the things that he went through the year prior is like, that was really cool to see because as a friend, should always want to see somebody succeed. I was there to see Jade have her WrestleMania match. And I was so floored because me and Jade were training so hard, like months prior to doing all that. No one knows that. And like, you know what I'm saying? It's cool because I'm invested as a person outside of wrestling to see these people succeed in what they are working towards. And they would do the same for me. So it was great to be there and to share that with everybody in the box, everybody in the suite. I got to see Taker come back. I felt like a little, there's a lot of times where you don't really step back and really try to just watch it as the younger version of yourself. Like the younger version
Yeah.
of Ricky was so excited to watch this because I just never get a time to really kick back like that and immerse myself in the passion of everybody else that was there. So of course, there's that video where I was so hyped because dude, that was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
why? This is wrestling. Who to even for anyone to make jokes about like, oh, why is he acting like? Get real, bro. Get real. Like, this is all about like what we try to see.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I had no problem with supporting friends at other companies and all that stuff. I don't believe in that tribalism bullshit. You got people who never been in wrestling that try to push that agenda, but I don't care. Like when I went to go see Cody at the Rumble, someone leaked the security footage. It's not like I was trying to be seen. Someone leaked that footage. So it was like, this is so bizarre. It's so weird,
Dude, you've literally
But
gone through about my next like 6 questions there. You've like you it's like you see my notes. I was going to ask about Jade, but also with
yeah, that's good.
yeah, but with the Rumble stuff, just because that was the last thing you talked about there. But it must be like weird with yourself, like you said, some of the online fandom, not all online fandom, but there is an element where it's an interesting place where it feels weird when you see certain fans lose their mind because wrestler A from company A is friends with wrestler B from company B. Like
Yeah.
the reaction too, like there's a grainy CCTV footage of Ricky Starks with Cody going into the Rumble, and people are just like went nuts over it. That's it's
We,
crazy to me. I'm a wrestling fan, and it's like crazy that people just
we
lose
look
it.
like we look like badasses about to rob a bank in Ocean's 11. I thought I always thought it was funny. The thing is that when I went to go see him, I primarily stayed on the bus. So what they caught was me walking towards the bus because we had to go down. And so when I woke up that Sunday and I was like, why would they? Someone in security at the Alamo Dome took a screenshot and then posted it. And it's like, why?
Yeah,
Because I was doing my part of trying not to bring any focus to me. You know what I'm saying? Just because I kind of knew like, all right, well, I'm gonna just chill out. Like that's always how it is. I'm just trying to chill out. I'm not trying to be out here with a flag saying, hey, here I am. Like, blah. I don't like that's not it. But I'll be damned if I let anybody, whether the people I work with, whether the people online, I'll be damned if I let anyone make me feel like you shouldn't have friends. Like, think about that. Outside of this wrestling bubble, that's sad. That is like, it's mind numbing to even be like, we're mad at this guy, or this guy sucks because he wanted to go see his friend and blah blah blah. It's like, guys, it's not that big of a deal. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just there watching wrestling.
yes, like your friends getting the ultimate promotion, the ultimate job that they're like, this is what he's worked his whole life for, and it's like you're there to support them, and it's like,
Yeah,
what's he
it
doing?
was
Why is
cool.
he there? Yeah, it's like if that was like any day job, man, it's crazy. Any or like
Yeah,
any other sport, like people, I don't know, it's a strange one to me, man. And obviously that moment, Samantha Irvin, the WrestleMania moment, just adding so much to the emotion of the
she
moment.
was
Like,
great.
oh
She's a
man,
great announcer.
yeah,
Like that should tell you, like, hey, that was a cool ass moment. That was like one of the coolest things to have to witness live, because people had been clamoring for it for so
yeah,
long.
yeah,
It's no different than um, you know, seeing Swerve win his title at Dynasty, or like I said, me seeing Jade freaking have a tag match. Like, there's no difference. So I'm going to continue to support my friends at whatever company, because who gonna tell me otherwise? What am I doing? Who am I hurting? What village am I pillaging? Like, who
yeah.
cares?
Yeah. It must have been cool then to see Jade on, especially how, I mean, she was presented really well in AEW, but just on the WrestleMania stage with the big entrance and the glitz and glamour that comes with that, the arena that's there, the size of it, like that must be really cool to see. Just as, well, one as a fan, but more importantly, just as her friend, like you said, because people can be friends with other people in other companies.
Yeah, it was really a great moment, because I don't think Jade Jade was training a lot, and she still trains a lot. I mean, she was training like 3 to 4 times a week, and so to me, I know what's gone into the whole process of her, and she really loves wrestling. She really cares a lot about it, and it was just really awesome to see her at that stage, because that is just a cool moment to share with somebody. And I personally I get happiness. I feel happiness from people that are in my circle that accomplish certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that I grew up not having as a kid, so to speak, like that circle friendship group of people supporting each other. So when I got older, I wanted to do for that as I did not have for myself, so to speak. So yeah, Jade is just, she's badass. I always thought she was badass. I thought she worked hard at AEW. I think she works hard right now. And I've tried to tell her, like, it's not your job to try to prove someone wrong, because their opinion that they have of you will just, you can't change someone's opinion. They're not willing to have their opinion changed on you, right? So you should just be for the people that are for you. And there are a lot of fans that are for Jade, that want to see her succeed, and me being one of them. And it just, to see her in that moment at the Mania of all manias was so cool. Like, I couldn't get out quick enough how proud I was just to see that, because she's a really she's a really good friend to me. Like, beyond a good friend. She's my best friend. So yeah, she's legit the best.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear, man. And it's one thing like getting to see your friends having success. You're seeing your childhood favorite, The Undertaker, in the ring. You're sat
I
next to,
know.
yeah, young Ricky Starks seeing The Undertaker while sat next to Goldust, essentially. But also young Ricky Starks getting to wrestle Sting 3 times. Well, obviously one was a cinematic match, the street fight. That must be pretty surreal. And obviously Sting's now retired. And what a career, what a man, what an icon of the business.
Dude, crazy to think about that cinematic match was Sting's first match back.
Yeah.
Because I don't care what, it was still a match. Like, it was still a match. So uh to think about that, and then to have, the second to last match for him, where we lost the title to him, I will take that to the grave. That is just, that's one of the coolest moments ever. And I'm very thankful for AEW to even allow that for me, because that's not something I would have ever predicted to happen, you know? And I've grown close to Sting. He is an awesome person and really changed um, a lot of like when Sting is around, I feel like a little bit more secure in myself. I feel more secure in like, okay, well, things will just happen. And in return, I felt more protective of him out there, and things of that nature. So it was just cool. It was a really cool moment to have. And then to see his sons dressed
Yeah,
up
man.
at the pay-per-view, the fight. It was just a cool thing all around. Steve is a good dude. I just saw him recently at a convention and went up to him and gave him a hug and stuff. So yeah, I just can't. I still can't fathom it. There's a lot of moments in my life that I can't really fathom. One being like training with the Undertaker, or um, having that instance where he critiqued one of my indie matches at the time, or wrestling Sting not once but 3 times. Like just things that are hard to fathom that I will never take for granted.
And so we talked about Sting sharing the ring with Sting, a wrestling legend. Another person you share the ring with on, I believe it's 4 occasions so far. Bryan Danielson, one of the greatest, some people would say the greatest wrestler of all time. You had the fantastic Texas Death Match. You've had a couple of tag matches across from each other. But just in particular, I want to hone in on the first match you had, the All Out strap match, in terms of not only was it an excellent match, a genuine match of the year candidate, and it was the first time you two have ever like met, ever butted heads. But then you had all
Yeah,
the other circumstances around it, as in it was supposed to be you and CM Punk. All of a sudden, I don't want to say thrown together, but just this, you have like a limited time. It's the first time you've ever met, and you put on that sort of match. That's must be very special to look back on.
dude, that, as I've always said before, that match really means a lot to me because it signifies a moment in my life where I felt like there was a meeting, so to speak, of me finally feeling like, okay, things are turning around, like this is it. The groundswell of it afterwards was so like just crazy to me. Um, and from a personal standpoint and from a professional standpoint, it feels like the culmination of everything that I've learned, worked for, and was feeling at the time at the peak, right? And it just felt like it's obviously it holds a dear spot in my heart because it's so, man, it's right there for me. And I don't know if I ever reach that again. I think I will, hopefully. But that match is just crazy. And then to have Brian afterwards in the media scrum go and talk about how every opportunity I've had, I've knocked out of the park. And like he always thought I was good, but he always likes to test people. And not only am I a good wrestler, but he's a gutsy performer. So to have that type of sign off on the match from Brian really is kind of funny, because even when I see these negative comments, I should just think about what Brian said, because that holds a lot of weight more than a guy with a name and numbers behind it. So, uh, yeah, I just really love that match. I wish things were different about it afterwards, but it is what it is. But I think that's why I loved it so much, because it felt like this was me about to just, what I'm saying? It's gonna happen for you, man. And so, you know, yeah, it just was a really great match. And I can't say enough good things about Brian, because I feel like he's a guy that when he talks to me, because he came from the indies, so he knows how it was to grind and to get to this position and to be at a certain level. Um, he's just a great dude. Like, I'm really blessed to have been in the ring with him and someone like Sting. These things, because it's only made me better.
Yeah. I mean, not to get into too much of the specifics of All In 2023, but we talked earlier on about mindset in certain times. How does that affect you personally, knowing that you're getting a huge pay-per-view match against CM Punk at All Out, only obviously Punk to be gone from the company, and then that kind of throws your status up in limbo for that pay-per-view? Obviously, you would get Bryan Danielson, one of the greatest of all time, and put on a hell of a match. But that initial bit, is there a bit where it's like, how do you feel initially when the Punk match is off the table and there's that uncertainty of like, I was due to have this massive match and it's gone, but obviously you get the really good replacement. But how is that for you at that point?
Well, it was weird. It was a weird setup from the month prior because I wasn't at All In, and
Yeah,
I had did that whole thing during the summer, and like the fans were still behind me after whooping Steamboat, and it was a crazy turn of events that looking back on it, I'm just like, damn, if I could bottle it up and put it in my pocket, I would. Um, Obviously, I was frustrated. I was definitely frustrated because I must have done something bad in my past life. Because I just feel like I don't want to say it's bad luck, but man, I just tough breaks
yeah,
after break. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it feels like. And I guess I don't really give it too much thought about it, and I just put my head down and just keep working. But when I have conversations with people and they bring that up and they say like, "Well, you did this and then this," and it's like, shit, yeah. When you really put it like that, it has seemingly been just a series of unfortunate events, you
yeah,
know. So I was definitely frustrated about the whole situation. I was aggravated because I work hard and I do these things, and um I feel like I've proven it. Sometimes I feel like, well, you haven't proven it, and then I have someone tell me, well, you did prove it, and then I go, well, I still need to keep proving it.
yeah,
And then at a certain point, I think what's going to happen is like, how many more times do I have to do that? Right. So I wish it didn't happen like that. It would have been interesting to see how the Punk match would have turned out in that environment. But obviously, it's still in my head. I think I was going to have a great match with anyone, regardless, because of just my mindset. Um, yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. Like there's nothing about it. It sucks because a lot of things were affected and afterwards, and you know, some people got back on the train tracks and some people did not.
how much fun were those early collisions? Because obviously that was the early collisions with
Dude,
yourself, Punk, FTR, the Bullet Club Gold. It was,
they were great.
yeah.
I remember. I don't know if you remember that big tag match we had, where it's
Oh,
me, Punk, FTR versus Bullet Club,
yeah.
Jay and Juice, and then you had Austin and Colton, and the crowd. I believe that was. I know we're in Canada. I want to say that was like. I don't think it was Toronto or something. I can't remember exactly, but it was an electric crowd. Obviously, you could see that those collisions were building up the guys who didn't have a chance on Dynamite, so to speak, and it really was beneficial to a lot of guys. Obviously things have changed a bit now, but for the most part, I thought those early collisions for a new show trying to figure it out and highlight these guys, it was fantastic. It was great.
Yeah.
You had great matches that came out of it. Like you still have great matches on Collision. Collision is still a great show, but it just had a different feeling to it, you know?
Yeah, I believe that one was the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, the the big 8-man tag that you're on about, which was a
Good
lot of
job.
fun, man. Yeah,
Good job.
it's the wrestling nerd in me.
Yeah.
And around that time as well, it was just this. It was a everything was coming together. Everything was coming up Ricky Starks because there was the collision. You became a focal point of that. There was the Owen Hart Cup. There was the underhand shenanigans with CM Punk. Like I said, you totally blew off Jushin Thunder Liger, man. The balls on this guy. The
Yeah.
Ricky Steamboat
Well,
stuff.
I didn't blow them off. I just grabbed the trophy and
Yeah,
I just wanted to celebrate. That was it. I wasn't,
he'd come all this way in his gear, the full Liger gear, and you're just like, nah, yoink, off I go.
well, in my defense, he had the trophy. I didn't see the hand held out for a handshake, but I was like, wow, I finally won a trophy. Let me hold it. Like,
Okay,
why would he hold it?
okay. I feel like this is
I should hold it.
I feel like this is manifesting like Liger coming out of retirement to face Ricky Starks now because there was no hand off it.
Well, okay, listen, if that happens, then so be it. I have no problem, having to send someone back. But, you know,
I mean,
that'd be cool.
you put, I guess technically you put Sting on the road to retirement because that was the second to last match. You build it over damage. The Bucks just took some of the credit. Maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
man.
what I'm saying. That's
Yeah,
it.
but how helpful was CM Punk? Obviously, he's a very opinion splitting figure across wrestling. I think he's absolutely great. Some people think he's literally the devil. He talks about himself, but how helpful was it to have him there? And also, I mean, Brian Danielson, Jerry Lynn, Dean Malenko, Mark Henry, Paul White, The Big Show, Double A on Anderson, Tony Schiavone, Dustin Rhodes, Jake Roberts, Regal. Obviously, you're very close with Regal, but all these people, it must be like a dream to have these minds to kind of cherry pick and ask questions of.
Dude, it was incredible. Like, and even beyond those guys who have his like
Veteran
they're
status. Yeah.
veterans, yes. But don't forget, like the Bucks are also two guys that I've talked to and gone to, and they've been super helpful and really knowledgeable as well. So it's not just the veterans; it's
Yeah.
people who are more experienced to me than I am. So I love all of those guys. They've been very helpful in that regard. Punk was very instrumental in my presentation on Collision. There's a video clip that constantly gets reshared where the pyro is going off and exploding and blah blah. That was all Punk's idea. Punk
Right.
had a vision for trying to help out certain people and getting along. And I do remember a conversation with him where he was like, it's really up to you to swim, sink or swim. And I felt like I put a lot of stress on myself and pressure on myself to constantly outperform my last match that I had, just to prove that if he was going to, put his name on me, so to speak, or be the one to push for me, that I needed to do my part and make sure I never let that down. And it was the same thing when I had the tag match with the Bucks. I wanted to make sure that I didn't let the Bucks down, or with Sting. Like it's those things. Punk was very instrumental in making sure, like, hey, we should try to do something different with this dude. And I think Punk is the only one that was closest to really understanding me in that regard. When it came to, if you remember how I pulled up in the car
Yeah. That
after
was the very
winning
first
home,
collision, was it? I think the very first one,
was
possibly.
it?
I think it might have been. It was one of the early ones, anyway.
It was one of the early ones. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think it was the very first one, but I had that, and then I was the one that came out with the Louis bag, and
Yeah.
I dressed. Every time he would see my outfit, he would laugh and be like, "This is perfect." So there was a great collaboration going on in that regard. So that's why I have no issues with Punk. I I don't give a fuck what anybody tries to tell me. I don't care. He has never done me wrong. And you can have your opinions on him and all that, but you shouldn't vilify someone for thinking differently than you. You get what I'm saying? So, um, I will say that till I'm blue in the face. He really went out of his way to really try to make something on that Collision show for me. And I feel like it was working. And I feel like we were really on to something. And I think that's why that strap match with Brian really means a lot, because it just felt like the things that I had learned was like coming to a head of like, here we go. So, yeah, he was a great dude. And I still think Punk is a good dude in my opinion. Like he's helped, he tried to help a lot of us on that show. And I can always be thankful for that.
Yeah. I mean, I have to pick on that. You say you try to help a lot of people. Do you think that, again, this is like a loaded question almost, but do you think that everybody was receptive to the attempts to help, or?
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak on that for everybody.
Hmm.
I know when it came to me, I was worried about me and being like, do I have access to someone giving me help or guidance or trying to show me? And yes, I did. So that's all I could focus on.
Yeah. And you mentioned about how he went to bat with you to try and get, it's almost like the Ricky Stark story is get an opportunity, make the most of it, get another opportunity, make the most of it, and keep on going and keep on going. But if you look back at, like, I don't know, if you say to young Ricky Starks who's decided to get into the business, what we're talking 2009, 10, 11, I believe it was 11 when you had your debut match, but what advice would Ricky Starks now, who's sat here talking to me, with a multiple-time champion in AEW give to that Ricky Starks?
Damn. I mean, I think what I would say is just, one, give up the that control, like the need to be in control at all times, right? Give that up, because that won't serve you. You can only control what you can control. And there's going to be outside forces that just, you know, it's going to suck. But at the same time, I also would be like, just be more, believe that, what you're doing will always work out.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that even when I was younger, but I mean, really bunker down on that and go full force into that.
Yeah, like bet on yourself essentially. I guess what you did when you left the NWA, you did to go and just bet on yourself and see what was there.
Well, I'm always bet on myself for sure. But I guess what I'm saying is that even in these moments where it seems like it sucks because I'm not wrestling or whatever the case may be, just believe that everything will turns around for good people, right? Everything just works out for you. So, and in my career, everything has worked out, right? I mean, it works out when it needs to.
Yeah, actually, while I'm thinking about it, I mentioned the NWA there, and it was such a great run you had there. That was the first time I got exposed to Ricky Starks. It's like I think that was the second episode you were on the Power, and it's like, man, this guy's got something. This is a dude. I remember writing something about it at the time of like, this is great. And the NWA at the time, there was just so much going on with obviously the national treasure Nick Aldis, everything came together really well. Eddie Kingston was there, Eli Drake. It was just like a really nice mix of seasoned veterans and young upcoming talent. Again, this feels like a loaded question, but what do you make of the NWA these days, man? It's like and when the cocaine spot on the pay-per-view, and you're thinking, well, what's going on, Billy? What's happening?
I mean, it sounds bad. I don't have an opinion on it. I haven't been able
Yeah,
to keep up with it because I think they went behind a paywall, and so
yeah, yeah,
it's really hard to keep up with NWA nowadays. I mean, I try because I know people that still work there. One of my good buddies, Jack Stain, is still there.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but it's just, I don't know. It's just hard to keep up with it, unfortunately. And I'm a guy, you know me, as we always talk, I always stay up to date on stuff that's happening. I just don't know how.
Yeah.
So, Billy is a very headstrong, creative guy, and obviously that's his baby and that's his project. And so, I think he likes to rattle the cage, to drum up interest, which has not. I don't think. I don't think in his head that it's a bad thing, because as they say, good publicity or bad publicity, it's publicity nonetheless.
Yeah, unless
So
you, yeah, in the process get the TV deal and you do something daft that gets lots of negative attention. But
that
anyway,
so yeah, I don't even know what happened after that. Did they get the TV deal?
it was
Aren't
it
they on
was
CW?
yeah. It's one of them where it's nobody really knows the truth, as a lot of times in wrestling. But it was suppose it
Ah,
was like the CW deal, and instead it was like rather than put you on main CW, you're going to be on exclusive to the CW app, and
oh, okay.
yeah, which was kind of like directly after the Father James Mitchell cocaine and lady spot in the crowd, which was just like did nothing to advance the show.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, man. But in terms of the happenings, what is next for Ricky Starks? So what does the future hold? Do you see? You mentioned All In and not being on that last year. Is that something this year where it's like you want to be at Wembley for All In, or dare I even stir the pot and say maybe you see the bright lights of WrestleMania somewhere down the line? I've got to ask it, man. Otherwise, I'll get grief in the comments. I'll
I
get grief either way.
I get it. I mean, the idea of even being at WrestleMania is so, like, I don't even think I think I had that dream, and then I stopped having that dream for whatever reason. It's not to be sad or anything. I don't know why, but I think everybody dreams about that. But AEW has its own WrestleMania, so to speak, with
Yeah,
All In. Um, it did suck last year to not be on it. I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. And I don't want to publicly say that I'm going to be on All In this year and then I just don't. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I I'm kind of superstitious like that in a way. I am, but I'm not. Would it be nice? For sure. Do I know that I will? I don't know. Do I hope? Yeah. But if not, I also get it too. Like, what I mean by that is I also get like, hey, just some shit just don't work out for you. If we've known by now for my career, some things just it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen for me, and that's okay. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to harp on that or focus on that part,
Yeah.
because I'll just be stuck in a shitty space. So I think what's next for me is, oh, dude, I have no clue. I can't even, I don't know. I have no clue. I would love to be back wrestling and doing something of substance, but that is not in my control. So, I don't know. To be real with you. Hopefully you see me back on screen real soon. Yeah, because I'm
Exactly,
ready to
man.
go.
Wrestling, look at that, looking jacked as well, as always. The wrestling TV is a worse place when Ricky Starks is not on it. So that's all I can say on that one, man. It's
Why? Well, yeah, I get you, but
yeah,
it's the business, so
yeah.
you got to just roll with the punches. And I'm and one thing about me, I'm gonna roll with the punches.
And as I mentioned earlier on, the last time we did speak was 2022, May 2022, and that was just as All In 2023 was announced. And we talked about, if you get over here, there's pints, man, there's beer. The pints are on us. If you get here to Wembley or whenever you're next over, man, it's it's a free ride.
Dude,
for you.
I would love to come back. I want to go to the Gold Spar.
Okay.
I wanna I wanna go to the Gold Spar, and I wanna go to a pub and play, do some karaoke. And
Karaoke. What is the go-to karaoke for absolute Ricky Starks?
well, dude, honestly, Neon Moon. Neon Moon has been my new song.
Okay.
Prior to that, it was Prince, I Would Die For You. So I have to entertain, that's just how it is. But those have been my two that I've been doing. Sometimes I'll mix it up and do something off the wall, off cuff, but you won't find me doing typical songs like everyone else does, like Journey or Miley Cyrus in the USA. I'm not doing that because
No.
that's such a cheap thing to do.
And the last thing Ricky Starks is anything but cheap, of course, obviously, man.
Yeah, nothing cheap about me, baby. I'm very, very 100% genuine.
So we'll get you in the pub, we'll get you some beers, we'll find some karaoke, maybe a Nando's, who knows? Everybody loves Nando's.
Dude, I love Nando's. The only problem is y'all don't do the free Greek yogurt anymore after COVID. So y'all did away with that, and that sucks. But to get the little bowl and go get the free yogurt was always perfect, because that stuff is pretty spicy.
Oh man, it's nice. It's nice. It's all the flavors. In fact, not to rub it in, but now I'm kind of thinking like, because there is a Nando's 10 minutes from where I'm sat right now. So maybe that'll be me for today. Just to
Dude, get the sandwich. Get the Nando
yeah.
sandwich with the fries. That's the combo for me. And also too, hey, what about Spar? Is Spar only in Ireland?
No man, Spa is close to my heart. I used to live next to a 24-hour spa, and it was just
Dude, the Gold Spar. I'm telling you, the Gold Spar is where it's at.
And with that, any final thoughts? Absolutely, Ricky Starks, before we let you go.
No, but you can find me on social media. Starkman Jones on Twitter and Starky Baby on Instagram.
Fantastic. And hopefully we'll see you back on our screens ASAP. Ricky, as always, it is an absolute pleasure, brother. Hopefully it's not 2 years till we do this again, but thank you so much for giving it your time. It's been an absolute delight.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you, man. It's always great to catch up with you.
Hey, no worries, man. You take care. Have a great rest of your day. And be sure to like this other video that's going to be floating around here somewhere on WhatCulture Wrestling.